Although found in the Caribbean Sea with a population of about 13 million citizens, Haiti is just like another African country. Defined by political instability tied with uncontrollable violence, Haiti is far away from a shelter. Many have been displaced only by loud voices of guns, and now it runs to the neighboring countries such as Dominican Republic. The magnitude of these ugly situations and wars has caused Prime Minister Ariel Henry to call it enough is enough, and guess what? He has called on for foreign support to bring calm to the country of Haiti. An East African nation led by President Dr. William Samoei Ruto, that is Kenya, has pledged only 1,000 troops to bring smiles and joy and peace to the land of Haiti. Is this even possible? Is this theoretical or practical? Join me, Matthew Perez Adungo, as we unravel this possibility and impossibility. This is Newsworld Online TV. First known as Saint-Domingue, colonized by French, this is the present-day Haiti. Having gained its independence as early as 1804 and has so far had 43 presidents, Haiti can courageously celebrate due to its all-round instability. You could imagine and ponder that with its 27,750 square kilometers, it could be painless to live in harmony. It's the opposite. Since 1886, when General Salomon completed his first term of office, there have been 12 presidents in Haiti, none of whom has served his full term of 7 years. Of the 12, 4 have been killed, 6 unceremoniously driven from office. Located on a geological fault line in a region prone to severe storms, Haiti has suffered more natural disasters than most Caribbean nations. A close look at the 2010 earthquake saw almost 316,000 Haitians dead, 300,000 persons displaced, 80% of schools, 50% of hospitals, and 60% of the nation's economic infrastructure turned into ruins. To date, it has never recovered. As if this is not enough, more than 90% of Haiti's capital city, Port-au-Prince, is in the hands of gangs. They toss it as they please. The sorry part of this story is that 200,000 have fled the country. To make it more worse, the neighboring country of Dominican Republic has shut its borders. It's unbearable. Since the beginning of 2023, at least 3,000 people have died. The kidnappings are up on the roof. About 200 groups of gangs position themselves every day, each wanting to expand its territories in the expense of Haitians. One gang, G9, led by a former police officer, that is Jimmy Shelze, alias Barbecue, boldly says they are on a mission. They are not just fighting. This North American country cracks day by day. Its government has been suffocated. They can't breathe. All the key subjects of Haitian government are in their command. The country's economy is in fragments after the assassination of President Jovenel Moise by a hit squad in 2021 who had assumed power in 2017. Things have fallen apart severely. Food shortage and corruption has engulfed Haiti. Though now led by Prime Minister Ariel Henry, one who many, including gangs, refer to as an American puppet, Haiti is far away from peace and stability. Prime Minister Ariel Henry's hands look to have been tied. With little support from the public, there's less he can do. As a gesture to see Haitians compact in the coming days and the 2 days, he has called on for foreign support. And now the world can't sit still. Kenya, an East African nation, has stepped in and is committed to calm the Haitian storm. Still and all, this is the first time ever an African country leads a mission in one of America's conflict-trading places. The main assignment of Kenya is to combat gang violence.
The resolution endorses Kenya to lead and coordinate this multinational mission.
In September this year, Kenya and the US signed a defense agreement. Interestingly, the US has called it a great example.
And logistical assistance. And we intend to work with the United States Congress to provide up to $100 million in support. And we urge others in the international community to follow Kenya's great example.
Word has it that already Kenya has hit the ground running with some of its troops learning French, one of Haiti's widely spoken language. But the scale of Haiti's violence is undescribable. Kenya has pledged to front only 1,000 soldiers to a nation whose gangs have the top arsenals ever in the universe. Weapons that are said to have been smuggled from the US. The East African country isn't alone. This UN-authorized deployment mission will see the President William Ruto's led nation joined by Jamaica, Bahamas, Barbuda, and etc. The US will provide logistical support and more than $100 million funding. The world can't calm. Everyone has cast doubts on Kenyan troops, having failed to tame cattle rustlers, uncountable insecurities in its northern counties, frequent terrorists petrifying its citizens. At least one soldier dies every week in its north due to bombs and mines that the Al-Shabaab has openly claimed to have planted on the Kenyan soil. Nonetheless, concerns of unprofessional conduct of its troops when dealing with demonstrators can't just be written off. Stray bullets killing its innocent citizens, the use of excessive force, civil unrest, carrying out extrajudicial killings is the definition. With all, have unseen forces forced the Swahili nation to step up for a peacekeeping challenge? Is Kenya positioning itself to the world map as a giant who has been in slumber, elevating now its stature to the world stage as a continental and global impact player? Is Kenya trying to cover itself from the shame and shape of corruption that it bears? Be it as it may, this isn't the first time a nation has been to Haiti with troops in the name of peacekeeping. Reminisce about this. In 1994, the US, in a bid to stabilize Haiti, sent a total of 21,000 troops armed to tooth. Nothing satisfying came out of that. A decade later, in 2003, Brazil sent 13,000 troops, and this time round, not a sausage materialized. What the Republic of Kenya is consigning mathematically, with all candor, isn't even a tenth of the total US and Brazil's forces. Though neither his son nor daughter is in the military, Kenya's top writer Ngugi wa Thiong'o is really helpless and feels bitter now that Kenya has subscribed to the fronting of its troops to the land of Haiti.
We have agreed to take 1,000 policemen to go to Haiti. Yes. Now, if you know any history, anybody who knows the history of Haiti, any black person, will not do that. Right? I feel teary, not teary inside. I just couldn't believe how Kenya is doing this, right? Yeah. I mean, people know there's something wrong in the mind of such a leader.
But Kenya wants to go head-on with this. The ruthless gangs have warned Kenya not to set its foot in Haiti, but the African nation maintains that it has been everywhere.
Kenya has a very long history of global peacekeeping. We were in Kosovo, we were in Namibia, we were everywhere. We are now in Somalia, we are in DRC. We have our officers in the Tigray monitoring and evaluation mechanism.
How possible and impossible is this mission?